One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Good morning, everybody from chilly South Florida. If you're wondering why I've got this on, because winter showed up today in South Florida. Woke up this morning and it was 39 degrees in South Florida. 39 degrees. And here, the air conditioning was on because I forgot to turn it down before I left last night. And so I came in here and it was like very, very chilly up in here. No, I don't see any falling iguanas here. I had an iguana, like I showed you guys pictures of it at our home, but woo, boy, it's chilly down here. But I don't want to sound like a big wuss because I know what some of you guys are going through. And I understand I'm looking on television. I haven't heard the term bomb cyclone since I lived in Connecticut like 30 years ago. But so things are looking like it's crazy. Hope you guys find a way to stay warm. I can't complain down here. I mean, like I said, it was 39 this morning. Let's see what it is. As the sun rises down here today, it's already 64 degrees. So maybe I need to take the sweatshirt off and put on my uniform, but 64 with a feel like temperature of 66. So that's like warm for some of you guys. I feel for you. You know, this morning when I had to take the dog out and I was like, I don't know what you're going to do. We had to put his sweater on and everything. We actually have sweaters for the dogs. So, welcome. Wanted to get that out of the way so people are wondering, Barry, what the hell you got on this black sweatshirt? Because it's cold. It's quite cold. I got a little bit of a sniffle. Man, I sound like such a wimp. But anyway, hope you guys are having a great day. I got a little bit of a PSA right now and public service announcement in regards to silver. Silver hit this morning at about 9 o'clock. Silver hit $120 an ounce. Right now, silver has fallen to $112 an ounce, which is to be expected. And I'm just going to give you some personal advice. Robin, she saw it when it hit 120. She goes, "We selling?" Nope. Not going to sell. We're still holding. And what you have to realize that people have sell orders and they'll jump to take some profit. And so when it hit 120, I knew right away a bunch of people would hit and jump and go and take their profit and jump back out real quick and cash out because they made some money. So anytime you see it rally high, you can expect a quick fall because there's a whole lot of silver hitting in the market. Everybody's selling, selling, selling. Take our profit. You know, some of us sit back and say, I see what's going on in the world. I understand what's happening. I understand we are in the danger zone here and that we really need to watch out. Well, some people need to take profit, so I'm never going to tell somebody not to take their profit. But if you don't need to take your profit now, hold the line. This thing is still going to go. Now watch what's going to happen. It's all the way down to 110 right now. It'll pull back. It may drop to even 100. And after everybody gets their profit and more people want to jump in, because when that dip happens, some people are going to push and buy some more silver and it's going to go back up. But again, watch the trend line, not the daily, watch the trend line. I may jump back in. If it gets, like right now, it's at 110. If it gets down to like 105, I'm probably going to jump back in as well, get even some more, because then that baseline that, like I mentioned, the arrhythmia, like of a heart thing, it's going to pop back up because it has to. Let me just tell you, in case you're wondering, Barry, what do you think is happening? I personally think, based on the moves that are being made, how do I say this without making you guys go crazy? I almost think President Trump is trying to semi-collapse the economic market. Oh, don't scream. Don't scream yet. Understand the methodology behind it. Businessman, he understands right now what's going on in the world, everything that's happening in Japan, everything that's happening worldwide, Venezuela, the oil, everything. People are freaking out. But the one constant that we have is that you will always come back to the American consumer. The American consumer, even when their belts are tight, is still far better than any other consumer in the rest of the world. And the contraction that we need, with all the fraud, with everything else that's going on within the fraud, whether it's California, Minnesota, basically number of blue states across the country, with all this fraud, you have to have a way to contract, bringing this stuff under, because now all that money that's been spent on the fraud, as we begin turning off these spigots, that means people across the world who've been involved in this spigot flow, they're going to get hit too. They're not going to be able to pay certain interest rates. They're not going to be able to do things with the bonds and all the things that they've done to manipulate the United States market. It almost reminds me when Reagan took over. Remember how bad it was under Jimmy Carter, if you're old enough, which is a problem, I think, that there's not enough people who remember or were even alive to know what interest rates and gas lines were. You remember you had to go on odd days or even days to buy gas, and it was like being in some sort of Soviet economy where they were actually rationing gas? How many of you remember that? How many of you remember, oh, it's Tuesday, I better go get gas? My first house I ever bought, my interest rate was 18%. Interest rates were incredible. When they say boomers took all the money and slammed the door. You ever buy a house at 18%? You want to blame us? We went through this. We went through the gas prices and the gas rationing, where you can only buy a certain amount of gas on certain days. We went through 18% interest on home loans. I'm not talking about credit cards. I'm talking about home mortgages with decent credit. You were still paying 18%. So don't tell me that we didn't pay our dues. Don't tell me that we were able to take everything so you guys wouldn't have it coming behind you. We lived through it. And then this guy called Reagan came in, And when he came in and he started something called, all right, wait for it. Do you remember what it was? Reaganomics. And Reaganomics, which people on the left screamed, oh, this doesn't work. There's no such thing as a trickle down. It's not working. I want you, if you're old enough, to go back and remember what Reaganomics really was. Reaganomics was, we're going to have to cut. And we're going to cut till we just, basically see if we can lose enough weight to get through this hole. And damn if that doesn't look like what President Trump is doing right now. Yes, there are people who are going to suffer. There are people, it's amazing when you say that, if people are going to suffer. The entire Democrat Party right now is built on the communistic fact of the greater good. Everything is for the greater good. We all have to do this for the greater good. Well, what if President Trump is actually doing that in a different way than they think, but he's working on the greater good? Our country at this point has become too introspective. It's all about me. On the right, on the left, it's still about me, but they want the government to pay for it. What if everybody was on the same playing field and gas was more expensive and oil was more expensive and food was more expensive, but the greater good meant we're going to turn off all these spigots. This one. You guys all want to see a strong country? Well, in order to get strong country, you got to do this, you got to do that, and just crank it all off. I take it back to, again, a football analogy. Showing up at preseason camp. Everybody wants to play in the first game. Everybody wants to put on a uniform. Nobody wants to go through camp. Nobody wants to sweat in 90, 95-degree weather, running and lifting weights and going through all the things you got to get to before you can even get to practice. Remember, training camp is training camp. It's not actual practice for the game. It's just getting you ready to get to practice. And so I've been through so many training camps. I've been through the sweat. I've been through the pain. I've been through all of that, the blood, the tears, upset, I'm just pissed off. But I got through it and I got stronger and I was able to play and play better than a lot of other people. Kind of reminds me of what we're seeing right now. Yeah, we're in training camp. We have a new president who's came here just over a year ago, and he's putting us all in training camp. You're going to have to learn to live without this and this and this and this and this. We're going to turn off all this. No, you're not having SNAP. Nope, you're not going to have USAID. Nope, you're not going to have this. And so when you're turning off all of these different things, there are repercussions. And those repercussions ripple out into international markets. And you're seeing other countries like freak out. Tariffs? What do you mean we got to play tariffs? I think personally that what President Trump did with the tariffs is a win-win situation for America. It caused the turmoil across the country that we all needed to see happen and go through so that everybody knows, you know what, we're not going to be like them. It's not going to happen like that anymore. You're not going to take advantage of us. It was almost like going through training camp and saying, well, can't have cookies right now, you're training. And the cookies that we all had and we all wanted was, hey, you can't have that cheap stuff from China. You're going to have to buy American stuff, but it's more expensive. Tough. This is what you need to get through this. But I want the cheap stuff from Amazon. Too friggin' bad. You can't have it right now. You're going to need to change your behavior. But I want my SNAP benefits. Sorry, can't have it. You're too fat. You're going to have to learn how to deal without the sugar and the Cheetos and all the sodas and all that stuff. Nope, can't have it. You're in training camp right now. You're going to get better. I swear. It hurts me more than it hurts you. Take another lap. Do what you need to do. Run around the grocery store 15, 16 times so you can find stuff that you can eat, stuff that's good for you, not stuff that you want. And then there's other people, like some of you and me, who are like, hey, I think we can make some money on this. I think that we can still eat, but just stay within the lines and understand what he's doing. Let me buy some of this gold. Tastes good. Let me buy some of this silver. Tastes good. Let me buy some of this real estate. Tastes really good. Oh, you can't have any? You don't have it. You don't have any of this? It'll be okay. We'll get you to a position because we're going to provide opportunity so that you can eat down the road. You know, the whole greater good thing. A lot of people don't like to hear that. A lot of people think I should have what you should have, but you're not a captain. You're not a starter. You're a freshman on this team. You're hoping that you make the team. I remember going to college and I went through the dining hall and I grabbed my tray and I went and sat down where a couple of the starters were. And they all looked at me and went, you can't even sit here. I'm on the team. Yeah, sorry, but you're not with us yet. And I had to take my tray and put my tail between my legs and go sit someplace else because I wasn't there. I had not earned the right to sit at that table. Didn't mean I was a lesser person. Didn't mean that I was, they were picking on me because I was black. No, you just haven't earned the right to sit here. What does that do to a normal person? A normal person, unlike these nut jobs, says, I'm going to pump some weight. I'm going to run. I'm going to bet better. I'm going to do everything I can so that I can sit at this table. Maybe take one of your seats. This is the type of ideology I grew up in. It wasn't to sulk and say, so how come he's got this and how he's got that? Well, if you want that, go do what he did. And so I think President Trump kind of winked and nodded with everybody and like, yeah, this is going to get tough on some people, but it's for the betterment of the country. And if they understand that this is for the betterment of the country and themselves, they will learn to achieve. They will learn to say, I want that, and I'm going to do what's necessary to get that. I want to be a starter. And I'm watching as it's going on, and I'm checking silver, and I'm watching people taking profits, and I am so happy they're taking profits because that shows me it's working. People are making money. And I have had the news on since I've been getting ready here, and the whole time I've watched, nobody's talked about it. And I think that's why I do what I do, is because I don't want you not to know. I want you to be able to, and this isn't a commercial, but I want you to be able to have $1,000 piece of gold sitting here that's just a advertisement prop, because I don't need to put that in the bank. You know why? It's still working out. Every single day, this thing sits on my desk. Its case is got a little bit of dust on it, but right now this thing is training. This thing is working out. It's doing, look, it's doing sit-ups. Oh, I broke it. Now it's got to go to the training room and get fixed, but that still works. And it just keeps working out for me. So I'm challenging you. Whatever you're consuming, whatever you're putting in your diet, whatever it is that you're finding sustenance from, can you find the things that'll be more beneficial to you? Can you find those things in your life that you can say, I don't need this. It's not going to help me get to the starters table. I can't eat with the starters right now, so I'm not going to, it's just not right for me. But I'm going to do this because I know that people who are successful, I know that people who have what I'd like to have, I know people who have a life that they're enjoying despite other people being in certain levels of belt tightening, and do that. If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. Learned that a long time ago, a very long time ago. And since that day, every time I stepped in a practice field, every time I used to, you're going to laugh at this one, and Robin can tell you the God's honest truth. When it was leg day for me, when I had to go in and do squats and everything else, when I had to do, people laughed at me at first because I used to bring crutches to the weight room. Something wrong? No. Why do you have crutches? Because I'm not going to be able to walk out of here. Huh? I'm not going to be able to walk out of here. I am going to work so hard that probably for hours afterwards, my legs are like, I can't do it. Can't do it. And so I used to bring crutches to the weight room. And then after me doing that a few times, other people like, oh my God, he's getting ready to do it again. And I would get there and I would literally put 6, 7, 8, 900 pounds on squats. And I would do my work and my legs would just be quivering at work. And my best buddy, he saw me a couple of times. He's like, I'm in. What do you mean? I want to do this. And he ran down to the training room and he got crutches. And then it caught on. And there was like 6 or 7 guys who were like, oh, okay, we're going to work to what it's called complete muscle failure, to the point where the legs that you have no longer work. They don't work correctly. The muscles are twitching. All the fibers are like, oh my God, what is he doing? You have that kind of commitment? If you don't have that kind of commitment, how can you expect to get what other people have? How do you expect to eat at the big boys' table? And I don't mean you have to tomorrow go out and get a pair of crutches and destroy your fibers and your muscles. We're too old for that now. But we have a different way of doing it. A different way of doing it is like, you know what? Maybe indeed, honey, we're going to eat some ramen for the next 4 or 5 days. What? That's our crutches. My crutches right now is I'm going to eat ramen for 4 or 5 days. When you go to a grocery store, forget all that stuff. Let's eat crap. I know it's not good for you. Let's eat crap for like 6 or 7 days. I'm going to spend like $8. And we'll have meals all week long. Well, our budget calls for like $300 this month for groceries. Nah, we're going to put 200 of that into silver or gold. Would you be willing to do that? Probably many of you say, no, I can't do that. Well, then you're not ready to be where you need to be. And you're not being prepared for what's coming. See, one of the things, reason I think that nobody really talks about this is they don't want people to know what's coming and they don't want people to be afraid. Well, fear for me has always been a motivator. Fear to me has always been something that was like B12 being stuck in my butt or something. I was like, okay, if that's what I got to face, if I got to go up today against this guy who's 6'7", 325 pounds, ooh, it's a big boy. I got to get ready. So I just wanted to take a moment and tell you, as you're watching the silver market go up and down, don't think that you missed the market. Understand that there are people right now taking some serious profit. And they know they took a serious profit because it spiked to 120. Sell. Let's get the money in. And now you got a bunch of cash and you can do what you want with. So I sit and hold. It's back down to 107 right now. And you can quote me. You can like put a timestamp on this show. And you're like, Barry, it's 107. Did you miss out at 120? No. Watch what happens. Take your profit if you need to. But at 107, 105, you may make some money if you jump in right now. That's up to you and your family to decide what your strategy is going to be. But I don't see this economy changing if people don't begin preparing for what's happening. I think you're going to see a lot of stuff happening where a lot of people are going to be screaming because it's designed to be this way. I think President Trump is executing a contraction because that's what we need for the better of the country. Not an individual, not because he's got billionaire buddies, but we got too damn fat. And now it's time for us to get it fixed. All right, so I want to tell you about today's sponsor. We got a sponsor on today's show. I want to thank Kalshi for being one of the sponsors on today's program. Are you guys familiar with Kalshi? Kalshi is really fun and it's pretty cool. Kalshi is one of the only places you can actually trade on real world current events, and it's available in all 50 states. And I like looking at Kalshi because you can trade on all kinds of things, and there are different kinds of questions and trends. For instance, right now, people are trading about whether or not the government is going to shut down again. I have no idea. I don't have the answer. I don't have that crystal ball, but nearly $4 million has been traded on Kalshi about the government shutting down. As of today, people think there's only a 10% chance that the government shuts down again. Personally, I think it's a little bit higher. I think they have completely wishful thinking if they think it's only 10%. But hey, it's their money, and that's the part that's fun about Kalshi. If you want to keep tracking this, if you want to keep tracking where people are placing their own good money, you can do so with Kalshi. It's a great operation and a super helpful way just to kind of observe the news and how people are actually putting their own money, their own dollars on various trends. You can go to Kalshi.com/Barry Cunningham right now and get a free $10 credit when you trade $100 or more. That's Kalshi.com/Barry Cunningham. Understand you must be 21 and older. The purchaser must be present in the state where the trade is being placed. See important disclosures at Kalshi.com. Kalshi is subject to U.S. regulatory oversight by the FTC. Excuse me. All right, so let's get into today's show. So you guys, at 10:57 right now, President Trump and the cabinet are about to come out. Let me tell you what's happening tonight. We had a three-course meal today. We had Tom Homan earlier. We've got the cabinet meeting getting ready to come up at any minute. Not sure how long that's gonna go, but it could go quite some time because all the people in the room are going to get a chance to say something. And then, of course, they'll probably take some questions as well. Now, one of the things I want you to pay attention to, and we'll talk about this tonight, let's see if Tulsi Gabbard is in the room. In case you don't know, last night, all hell broke loose. The Democrats are freaking out because now they have another front that they're going to have to fight on. And this other front is the election fraud is coming back, and they are losing it. Yesterday, they executed a search warrant in Fulton County. And what the interesting part about that was, there's a couple interesting things. I'll wait till tonight. I'm going to do the whole election fraud show tonight at 7 o'clock. So let's wait for that. But the one of the interesting things was Tulsi Gabbard was there. Why would the director of national intelligence be at a raid in Fulton County, Georgia? So I'm wondering what she'll say today, if anything. I'm sure if the press gets a chance, they will ask her about it. So listen closely if she's even there. If she's not there, then you have to wonder what's she doing back in Georgia. Is she still on site doing something? So Tulsi Gabbard, she coordinated the raid last night. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go through it in depth, exactly how it happened, why I think it happened, how it ties into some other things that happened. And then we'll also show some of the reaction that these nut jobs are having because they know the walls are closing in. They used to say that about Trump so much. And now they're all, I saw John Ossoff, he's the, what do you call it? The senator from Georgia who squeaked in. They beat Kelly Loeffler, and I think it was Perdue got beat as well. And one of the things was what happened in Fulton County. And so that's now coming out, and they're saying that it's preposterous that they should execute a raid on Fulton County. It's preposterous. It's a seismic event, I believe was the words he said. Again, I've said many times, the only way these Democrats can exist is to hope that you have the short-term memory. Because beyond short-term, they don't want you to remember. You know what a seismic event was? A seismic event was a search warrant on a president's house. But don't talk about that. So before that comes up, before President Trump and these guys come on, let me just make sure the feed is up and live. So once he comes on, because I can't tell how long Fox will cover it, because this thing will probably be a couple hours long, and who knows if Fox wants to cover it. I like their coverage because sometimes they have better camera angles, but I got the backup feed just in case. But in case you missed it this morning, depending on how much time I have here, I want to go over a couple of things that Tom Homan said this morning, some highlights in case you didn't see it.
Definition now.
All operations will be targeted, but the prioritization are going to be criminal aliens, public safety threats, and national security threats. I've met with Marcos and his staff. We got a lot of them. We got a lot of them to keep us busy. So that would be our focus.
If that is enough, that's what, there is not going to be a focus on people who have no other crimes except for their status.
If you're in the country,
See, some of you guys saw that live when he was taking this question, and I just did a face palm. You mean, so you're not going to really go after people whose only other crime? Those words actually came out of her mouth, who have only other crime was being in the country. So you understand that it's a crime to cross the border. Those are the only other crime, like it shouldn't matter. I love what he tells her.
you're never off the table. You know, but prioritization doesn't mean you forget about everybody. So let me say this. If the message we send is you can enter this country legally, it's a crime, don't worry about it. You can have your due process, show up in court, not show up in court, get ordered removed, don't worry about it. Unless you commit a serious crime, you're good to go. If that's the message we send to the world, you're never going to fix this problem. The most vulnerable people in the world will make that dangerous journey like they did under the Joe Biden administration. Over 4,000 aliens died making that journey. And again, a significant increase in sex trafficking. Because when they did that and opened those borders up saying, we're not going to detain you, we're going to give you free health care, we're going to fly you to the city of your choice, put you in a free hotel room, give you 3 meals a day, and give you work authorization, we're just going to bring you in. And when they did that, they sent a message to the whole world, you can come and do this. And what happened? They overwhelmed the men and women of the Border Patrol, where many days 70% of agents were pulled off that line. 70%. You don't think the criminal cars had a field day with that?
They know it's a crime to come across the border. As much as Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and these idiots say there's no crime, it's a crime, period. And what he just told her was, so you just want me to look away from the people who broke the law. And I don't think these people understand life. If somebody breaks into your house, but they only broke in and stole, some food, they still committed a crime. They may not have attacked anyone in the house, but they still committed a crime. And you can't say, nah, it's okay, let them go. They didn't really bother us. They just took some food. They were probably hungry. Nobody would say that. Nobody might be some liberals that would say it because they're stone cold nuts. But they didn't get the answer they were looking for. The answer they were looking for is, no, we're not going to arrest the other people. We're only going to arrest the ones who have done really bad things. In essence, what the Democrats are saying is, don't arrest people who have broken the law. We have varying degrees now of law breaking. And they're okay with it, as long as it's not in their town. Have you seen when they've done the videos of where they're protesting and what they're complaining about? The people protesting get back in their cars or buses and go to nice homes and nice areas. They don't have the saturation of where these people are. They don't have to live next to Tren de Aragua gang members or Mexican traffickers. They don't live next to them. So it's okay. They're there, in that little part of the town there. It's ridiculous. I mean, why would you want to accept criminality?
I begged for the last 2 months on TV for the rhetoric to stop. I said in March, if the rhetoric didn't stop, there's going to be bloodshed. And there has been. I wish I wasn't right. I don't want to see anybody die. Not officers, not members of the community, and not the targets of our operations. For the people out there who don't like what ICE is doing, if you want certain laws reformed, then take it up with Congress. Again, ICE is making this up. They're enforcing laws enacted by Congress and signed by the President. The same laws have been on the books for the last 6 presidents I worked for. I started with President Reagan and ending with President Trump. Every administration, we enforce the same laws. If you don't like what ICE is doing, instead of protesting this building, go protest Congress. Tell me what changes.
I love that. What are you protesting me? I'm just doing my job. This is what we're supposed to do. You don't like it, go down to Washington and make it happen. Go protest Schumer and go protest Jamie Raskin and go protest Ilhan Omar and all the rest of them. Go do it there. By the way, see how that works out for you. See how quickly you get shut down there. See, the reason why they're not doing it in other areas is because they're getting away with it in Minneapolis. I don't know where you specifically live, but if that kind of crap happened here, they get their heads busted. You only act bad when you can get away with acting bad. Many of you are parents or grandparents. What happened when your kids would, act up? You just let them do it? Oh, well, are you writing crayons on my wall? Yeah. What are you going to do about it, Dad? You're nothing. How long would that last? You spank the hell out of them. Oh, I mean, not that most of us spanked the kids back then. You imagine spanking someone who's acting up is considered bad. Time out. I give you a timeout. All right. Yeah.
You have your First Amendment rights, I support that. You have the right to protest. I'm just asking to keep it peaceful. But threatening law enforcement officers, engaging in impeding and obstruction and assault is never okay. And there will be zero tolerance. You interfere, impede, assault ICE officers, you will be arrested.
See, one of the things that obviously we all have a problem with is the use of the words peaceful protest, because that's been completely bastardized. It means absolutely nothing to the people who are protesting. That idiot that ended up getting killed, the new video showing him spitting on ICE officers, kicking the vehicle, breaking the back window, the taillight, resisting. None of that is considered peaceful. I know my vocabulary may not be the best, but I'm pretty sure peaceful means walk around with a sign, do your kumbaya screams and mantras, but don't act out of line. I posted something last night or this morning where they were out in front of another hotel at 1 o'clock in the morning, making all kinds of noises. And I thought to myself, do these cities not have noise ordinances? Most people who live in civilized society have noise ordinances. After 9 o'clock, turn the music down. After 10 o'clock, turn the music down. You can't have a band playing on your back deck at 1 o'clock in the morning. The police will come and say, turn it down. And if you don't turn it down, they take you away. We've lived under this societal rules forever. There are certain things you can't do. And they're written in the municipal guidelines of every single city, town in America. You can't do this. You can't do this, you can't do this. And I am almost positive I have not pulled up the municipal ordinances in Minneapolis, but I guarantee you there is a noise ordinance. Every single town has it. How do I know? I used to promote concerts and I used to do outdoor concerts, and they would tell me you can't be above a certain decibel meter after a certain period of time. There's a huge amphitheater up the road from here where all the big bands play, and people always wonder, why do the concerts end so early? Because at 10:30, you got to drop the decibel level way down. And that decibel level has to be low enough so that it's not disturbing people within the proximity. And then if you do, the police come and they'll tell you, turn it off. Why is it that Minneapolis gets to do what they do is because nobody is enforcing the actual law. The reason why these people are screaming and kicking things and fighting the way they're fighting is because nobody is telling them they can't do it. And they're going to just keep doing it until somebody says you can't do it. That's what we get.
Now we have millions of people released in this nation, many unvetted. Now we got to find them. Before the big beautiful bill, we had a total just under 5,000 deportation officers to look for millions of people, many in public safety threats. So yes, we needed Border Patrol to come and help on our mission now. And reason for the massive deployment is because of the threats, because of the violence. Our officers need to be protected. If I'm on an operation, an arrest team, I'm going to a house, I got to be busy with that guy, the dangerous guy, and I can't keep looking over my shoulder at what's happening outside the house. So we brought extra resources in to provide that security.
All right, so I want you to listen very closely to what he says right now so you can tell all the panicans, all the black pillars, all the idiots that Trump's capitulating, he's bowing down. No, this guy's explaining exactly what is happening. If I know there's a bad guy in the house, I only need to bring 1, 2, 3 guys. Somebody cover the back door, somebody drive, and I'll knock on the door, or 2 of us will go up and try to get the guy out. That's all I need. But because you guys are acting a fool outside, I'm going to need support. I'm going to need my posse. That's why there are 3,000 plus people in Minneapolis, because it's not that they need 3,000 to go get this guy. They need 3 guys and they need 13 to watch the crowd. And so when you hear them say we're pulling back, there's a drawdown. The drawdown is subject to making sure the Minneapolis police do their job. If you don't want these people here, you need to be watching our back. The day we find out you're not watching our back, the day we're going to bring in 5,000.
And as I said, as we drill down on these great agreements we got and this great understanding we have, means less.
Here, look, let me give you an example right now. Hold on.
But that's how the law works. So are they no longer a sanctuary city would be what I would ask.
All right, so you saw there were a couple guys putting the bad guy in a car, and then they had to have other people to make sure that people weren't coming up behind them and beating them in the head. Look.
To allow violent criminals.
They switched, but you understand that. I'm working on this. I'm working on putting this guy in a car, putting cuffs on him. That's why most of the time when there's something in your neighborhood or you see something, 1 or 2 cops show up. That's all I need to take down the bad guy. However, if everybody in the neighborhood came out the house and they were dang and yelling, hey, I need backup. If I need backup, I'm going to have to bring in more people. That's what he's saying.
So we can draw down those resources. When the violence decreases, we can draw down those resources. But based on the discussions I've had with the governor and the AG, we can start drawing down those resources as far as those looking for public safety threats being released, and do it in the jail with much less people. So the drawdown is going to happen based on these agreements.
See, I hope the press understood that. The drawdown is going to happen, ... based on these agreements. You agree, and we don't have the agreement, so we don't know, but you make sure that these people are nowhere near us. We don't want to be looking over our shoulders thinking of cinder blocks coming over at my head. They're not touching our cars. They're not doing any of this stuff. That's your agreement. You keep these people off of us. You respond. If my guys say, I need backup, you better be there within 1 or 2 minutes. I shouldn't need the backup, because if you got him inside the jail, then we don't need anything. We just show up at the jail and handcuff the guy and take him out. It's a very simple thing to fix. It's on Minneapolis.
Drawdown can happen even more if the hateful rhetoric and the impediment and interference will stop. So, Border Patrol, I was a Border Patrol agent. These men and women are patriots. God bless them. They're here to help us. And the drawdown will come soon, depending on when this actually, I see this in play.
All right. That's the big thing. He held up the thing. He goes, the drawdown will happen when I see this happening. Until then, it's business as usual. I need to see you doing this. So you're going to have to, what Tom Homan just said, he's got a very calm demeanor, like a Luca Brasi. Don't make me have to do this. And as long as you don't make me have to do this, we'll be good. And so once I see you fulfilling your end of the agreement, then we'll be fine. You're going to have to prove it to me. And they're going to have to prove it immediately, probably as soon as today. I'm going to go out there. We are going to make sure that we get this thing done, but you better do what you say.
But the agreements to have a loan is going to cause a significant drawdown.
So all they've got to do is make sure they do the right thing. All right. Yeah, let me go to cut 4 here. I want to show you this one.
I also want to remember the politicians are continually attacking us. Where were they the last 4 years when the number of women and children sex trafficking went all-time high? Where were they when 250,000 Americans died from fentanyl coming across the border? Where were they when women and children are dying making that journey? Where were they when over 4,000 aliens making that journey died? Historic record. Where were they? Not a word. Now we're just trying to respond to what happened the last 4 years.
Not only did the politicians not say a word, none of you out here said a word to these reporters. I would have said, not only did Kamala and Joe never speak up, none of you spoke up. You were complicit in what you see right now. If you had spoken up, if you had done your job as reporters, if you had been upstanding Americans and let the world know this is crazy what we're seeing here at the border. Nope, you didn't do it. You never said anything. You didn't even speak a word about it. Why? You want to blame Trump for cleaning it up, but you don't want to blame the people who caused the mess. It's too late to complain because you should have been complaining when it was happening. You can't blame the firefighters because some nut lit the flame. And that's their modus right now. Their modus operandi is they're blaming the firefighters. They are in essence saying, let it burn. Don't put it out. So you don't want us to stop this thing burning? No. So you're okay with it burning? Yes. You're okay that they set the fire because you didn't report. You watched them. You watched them do like Survivor and try to make fire. You watched them do it. And you didn't say a word. And now you're mad because we're putting the fire out.
Keeping this country safe. And we're arresting a lot of public safety threats, take them off the streets, which make this country safer. President Trump promised to make this country safe again. And that's what we're doing.
That's what he's doing. And it's very simple. And they don't like it. They don't like it at all. All right. Still waiting. Let's go to cut 5.
Arresting those individuals as well, and to the folks out there in America that voted for this, that want mass deportations because they saw a mass invasion under Joe Biden. What would you say to them? How are we going to get to that point?
Well, first of all, about the organization and the funding of the attacks on ICE. I'm not going to answer a lot about that because I'm not going to show her hand.
This guy, I wouldn't want to play poker with, but then he just gave me a tell. I'm sitting across from somebody and I see their demeanor is one way the entire time they're playing. And then I see this, I'm like, oh yeah, you just caught aces, didn't you? He just did that. So, what are you going to do about this signal chat stuff? He couldn't contain himself. He couldn't contain himself when he got that question that broke him. And I can't really tell you about it but we coming down hard on these people. He was stern all the other time. Yeah, we're going to do this and make sure you have the agreement and we're going to get the bad guys out of here. So what about this signal chat and everybody involved in it? He cuts a smile. So if I was any of these politicians or people who are funding these idiots, I would be very afraid. I would be very afraid because he looks like he just got some dessert, like a fat kid with cake. I can't wait for that one.
But they'll be held accountable. Justice is coming.
Justice is coming. Now, the whole press conference was about, the taking down and drawing down the numbers and everything else. And that was the first offensive shot that he took. It's coming. So all you people in Signal, I can't wait to talk to the Data Republican tomorrow and Haley. But there's so much information that has been garnered at this point. These people can't extricate themselves from it. You remember, whatever the Data Republican and Haley and Cam Higsby and everybody else whatever they've been able to put together is probably literally the tip of the iceberg from what intelligence can be grasped. There's a lot of people who got tight sphincters this morning, especially after he smiled and said, it's coming.
Again, we got to all remember why the questions we've seen and why we're here. What started this? 4 years of an open border where millions of people are in this country unvetted. Remember, let's not forget for 4 years, we were told the border was secure.
Yep, they lied. Why are the reporters not talking about the huge, well, they did a couple lies, big ones, but that's a huge lie. The border's secure. How many times did Mayorkas go on television in front of Congress, and talk crap about the border being secure over and over and over? And every single one of us knew it wasn't secure. We could see it. We could see these caravans there's nothing secure about it. All right, hold on. I'm going to cut to, they're getting ready to vote on cutting ice or actually trying to avoid the government shutdown. Let me see if there's anything interesting. They're going back and forth. Actually, they're having a hearing right now about the shutdown. Let me see if I can find that in a second while we're waiting for President Trump. Let me see if that's going on anywhere where I can pull it in. If I can pull that in, that'll be interesting for us to take a look at. Waiting for the cabinet feed to come up. It hasn't come up as of yet. And let me see here. No, I don't have it. All right, so want to show you something, and this is really interesting. How, Tom Homan just said, take it down, stop with all the rhetoric. I think you have to realize they can't take it down. There's nothing else for them to talk about. All they can do right now is talk about the border and these illegals and everything else because they don't have anything else to talk about. They're not involved in the economy. They're not helping people prosper. They're not helping people feel safe. All they want is to talk about taking down Kristi Noem and basically destroying the government.
Based on your legal expertise, do you have anything that you would tell Kristi Noem right now?
Well, she should certainly go find herself a good lawyer. But the Democrats made it clear today, either she is going to resign or she's going to be fired, or we are launching comprehensive impeachment proceedings that will culminate with my committee, the Judiciary Committee Democrats, conducting hearings across the country and across the range of all of her constitutional crimes and offenses. And we are going to arraign her on those impeachment charges. We know that we are in the minority, but we believe we will have all the Democrats with us, and it will just take a handful of Republicans to come over for us to impeach her. And already you can see Republicans across the country distancing themselves from.
I don't see it. Who the hell sees that? Let me know if you see it. I don't see it. Republicans across the country distancing themselves. Well, we're about to see the cabinet meeting, and I'm pretty sure Kristi Noem is going to be sitting in there. It'd be interesting when they go around the table and they get to her, what kind of comments are made.
Kristi Noem and her horrifically incompetent and cruel presiding over the Homeland Security Department.
Do you have a timeline for when you would pursue it? Is there a red line, or is it definitely just happening?
Well, if we get back next week and she's not gone yet, if she hasn't resigned or she's not been fired, we're going to start and we're going to announce it. And it will be 3 committees working together. It'll be my committee, the Judiciary Committee, with the Homeland Security Committee, which is the subject matter jurisdiction committee over the Homeland Security Department. So that's my friend Benny Thompson, who chaired the January 6th Select Committee. And it will be the Oversight Committee, where Robert Garcia is the ranking member. The 3 of us will work together to systematically go through all of the treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors.
Treason? Treason. Somebody trying to uphold the law that is written. Treason? How do you uphold a written law and consider that to be treasonous?
Committed by Kristi Noem, but beginning with these cold-blooded killings of U.S. citizens in broad daylight in American communities that have turned the country upside down. And even Donald Trump is backpedaling and running away from it. And pretty soon, with J.D. Vance seeing Donald Trump run away from it, he'll run away from it too, although he was one of the first ones out there, repeating the imbecility that these U.S. citizens peacefully exercising their First Amendment rights were somehow domestic terrorists. That's a
peaceful. Here we go again with peaceful. It's absurd that they call what these people were doing peaceful. Robin just texted me. She goes, the sound on the feed went way loud. Again, these are feeds that come in. I can try and modulate them as I can, but sometimes some of them are hotter than the others. All right, so it is now 11:30 or so, and he still has not come on. They are now debating whether or not to shut the government down again. So let's listen to some. I'm not going to torture you, but we have some. I think Susan Collins is talking right now about shutting the government down. Let me see.
With Nazi Germany are extreme.
Local governments prepared to respond to disasters, including funding for programs that help local law enforcement and our firefighters that are so important. It includes funding for the Nonprofit Security Grant Program that helps organizations like synagogues, churches, temples, and mosques protect themselves from terrorism. Mr. President, another important component of this bill supports our Coast Guard. Think of our Coast Guard personnel out in this terrible weather, being available to rescue our fishermen, our lobstermen, or others who are in trouble. The Coast Guard provides critical safety, security, and stewardship functions from Maine to the Caribbean to the Arctic and myriad places in between. The bill provides funding to secure our borders and to stop the flow of illegal drugs, money, weapons, and people being trafficked into our country by cartels and transnational criminal organizations. It includes funding for TSA to help keep Americans safe while they travel, as well as funding for a 3.8% pay raise for air traffic controllers to help address the serious workforce shortage that also can affect air safety. Mr. President, my hope is that we can come up with an agreement that allows us to proceed to this bill and to provide some additional safeguards. And those negotiations are underway right now. But if we don't get on to this package, we cannot change this package. And I think that our colleagues on the other side of the aisle need to recognize and acknowledge that. So I want to end by noting the tremendous work of the full committee staff, my staff, and Senator Murray's staff. I particularly want to acknowledge the hard work of Betsy McDonald, who has worked night and day as the staff director. I want to thank our subcommittee chairs and ranking members and their staff who have worked so diligently and are so dedicated. I know the conversations are continuing even as we speak between the administration and Congress on how to complete action on the Homeland Security portion of this package. This morning's vote is about taking the first step, not the final step, to consider the package on the Senate floor. So I urge my colleagues to support cloture on the motion to proceed to this vital appropriations package. Thank you, Mr. President.
The clerk will report the motion to invoke cloture.
Cloture motion. We, the undersigned senators, in accordance with the provisions of Rule 22 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, do hereby move to bring to a close debate on the motion to proceed to calendar number 302, H.R. 7148, an act making further consolidated appropriations for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2026, and for other purposes, signed by 17 senators.
Under the previous order, the mandatory quorum call under Rule 22 has been waived. The question is it the sense of the Senate that debate on the motion to proceed to H.R. 7148, an act making consolidated appropriations for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2026, and for other purposes shall be brought to a close. Yeas and nays are mandatory under the rule. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks, Ms. Baldwin, Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt Rochester, Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Brett, Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell, Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons, Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Moreno, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Osthoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: Banks, Capito, Cassidy, Collins, Cornyn, Daines, Grassley, Hyde-Smith, Mullen, Rounds, Sheehy, Wicker. Senators voting in the negative: Cantwell, Gillibrand, Hassan, Hickenlooper, Murray, Padilla, Peters, Reed, Schatz, Smith. Mr. Kelly, no. Ms. Blunt-Rochester, no. Mr. Thune. Aye.
Breaking news this hour. Let's go to the White House now. The president holding his first cabinet meeting of 2026.
Different forces and the American flag and various others. It's, I think, quite spectacular. It's never looked this good. And hopefully we're going to do work that's never been as good. So I think that's basically what's happened in our first year. We've had an amazing year, and this will be our first cabinet after the year, so we're starting our second year. Tremendous progress has been made. I want to thank my entire cabinet for 12 months of unprecedented achievements. We really have. I mean, it's unprecedented. The numbers we've had on the economy and growth, you see them, and that's despite a Democrat shutdown. Without the shutdown, we would have picked up about 1.5 points more than already high numbers, record-setting numbers. So this has been, I think, and a lot of people say it, the most successful year of any administration in American history. First year, there's never been a first year like this, including the fact that we extinguished 8 wars, and another one we think is coming. Steve Witkoff's working very hard, and Jared and everybody else, and I think it's coming. It was just announced that the murder rate in our country is the biggest drop ever recorded. It's at the lowest level in 125 years. First in recorded history, it's the lowest in at least 125 years. It's a wonderful thing. And that crime is way down, and one of the reasons was we've taken a lot of bad people and gotten them out of our country. In some cases, they're so bad that we put them in prison because we don't want them to even take a chance of coming back in, even though our border is very secure, record-setting secure. We had 0 illegal aliens being admitted into our country for the last 8 months. That's hard for even me to believe, but the people that make up the lists are supposedly nonpartisan, but I would say they lean toward the Democrat side. And if they say that, I'm all for it. As you know, we've had a situation take place with respect to Venezuela. I want to just thank General Kane and his staff. Well, the job that they've done is incredible. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And once it did take place, I want to thank the leadership of Venezuela. We're getting along really well with them. The relationships have been very strong, very good. And they have informed me that they feel there's very good security, very strong security. We're working with the various people involved, including Chris and Doug and everybody on the oil. We have the major oil companies going to Venezuela now, scouting it out and picking their locations, and they'll be bringing back tremendous wealth for Venezuela and for the United States, and the oil companies will do fine too. Venezuela will actually make for themselves more money than they've ever made before, and that's a good thing. And the people of Venezuela were literally in the streets waving American flags. They were so happy. And the people in our country, like in the Doral section of Miami, which is considered Little Venezuela, they're thrilled. And I just spoke to the president of Venezuela, informed her that we're going to be opening up all commercial airspace over Venezuela. American citizens will be very shortly able to go to Venezuela, and they'll be safe there. They'll be safe. It's under very strong control. And the people of formerly of Venezuela, some want to go back and some want to go back to visit, and they're going to be able to do that. So I've instructed Sean Duffy and everybody else concerned, including the military, that if you would, by the end of today, I'd like you to have the airspace over Venezuela. Planes can go to Venezuela opened up. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank all of the people in Venezuela for what they went through, and I want to thank the leadership for really they're doing a good job. And just as I promised, we've defeated the Biden inflation nightmare and achieved explosive new economic growth. The Atlanta Fed is predicting an astounding 5.4% GDP growth in the fourth quarter, and that's despite the fact that we had a Democrat shutdown. We would have had, that number would have been 7%, which is a number nobody's ever heard of. And we've been given great national security because of tariffs, and we've also been given unprecedented income because of tariffs. Part of the income that we gave, $12 billion, we gave to the farmers of our country, so that yesterday I was up in Iowa, and they were very happy, Madam Secretary.
Yes, sir.
They were very, very happy. They were great. So the GDP growth in the fourth quarter was great, and it's going to be, I think we're going to have an amazing and incredible year. Hopefully we won't have a shutdown. And we're working on that right now. I think we're getting close. The Democrats, I don't believe, want to see it either. So we'll work in a very bipartisan way. I believe not to have a shutdown. We don't want a shutdown. And just yesterday, the S&P 500 hit 7,000 for the first time ever. There's never been any time at which it's done like that. And the other stocks also, I think it was 52 times for the Dow, had hit a record high. But the 7,000 was not a number that was even thinkable if you go back a year ago. So S&P hit 7,000 for the first time ever. The stock market has set, it's actually 52, 53 all-time record highs since the election, adding $9 trillion in value to savings, retirement accounts, and 401ks. And I mean, everybody benefits, but we have record stock markets. Companies have never done well. And most importantly, if you think about it, after 4 years in which Biden got much less than $1 trillion of investment into our country, actually it was taken over 11 months, even though we're 12 months. In 11 months, we've taken in more than $18 trillion. So they did less than $1 trillion, Scott, in a period of 4 years, and we've done $18 trillion in less than 1 year. So there's never been anything like that. No other country has done those numbers, by the way, in history. 10 years ago, one country did $3 trillion. No other. We did $18 trillion is being invested now. Thousands of businesses, plants, equipment all over the country are being built. Right. One cost $34,000, and one made $3,000. That's a big swing. Gasoline has plunged to think of this, over $4 a gallon, depending on where it goes down. They tried to do their thing. It was a disaster. Then they ran a year before, and Brooke got them down very quickly before Easter. They said they wanted me to buy plastic eggs for the egg hunt, at the very famous egg hunt at the White House. Sir, would you buy plastic eggs? I would buy. We have now as you saw yesterday with the Fed, I'm not a fan of his. He said that inflation essentially is not a factor. Inflation essentially is not a factor. It's really been pretty amazing. I just put out a statement about his statements. I won't repeat them here because FDR. This is a much better deal than the FDR deal. But we have the great, big, beautiful bill, and it's given tremendous tax cuts and a lot of other things. People are now finding out how good it is, and it's just kicked in as of January 1st, by the way. So we're really starting to see it. Even though it's a month, we're really starting to see it. The U.S. economy would be cratering if they had won this election. Our country would be in very bad shape, would be maybe not much of a country anymore. I don't think it would be a country anymore. They were doing everything wrong, but they were going to give you the largest tax hike in history, and we're giving you the largest tax cut in history in the great, big, beautiful bill. In addition, I think it's very good. I think it's very important. You have no tax on overtime, no tax on tips, and no tax on Social Security, but you also have, you're getting this is the first time this ever happened. If you buy a car, you go out and borrow money, you get an interest deduction. You take the interest rate, the interest that you're paying on the loan, you're able to deduct it for income tax purposes. So that's a first ever, and I think it's going to be great for everybody, including the car companies. I was in Detroit 3 weeks ago. I went to the Ford factory, spoke to the General Motors people. It's all the same. They're doing better than they've ever done. Additional plants in the United States, as is everybody else. You have AI building, but it's as is everybody else. You have AI building, but the car companies, I love the car companies, and you have them. They're all coming back. They're coming back from companies. I love the car companies, and you have them. They're all coming back. They're coming back from steel than Japan. And that is entirely driven by your tariffs.
Amazing.
By your tariffs.
Amazing.
Steel, we saved U.S. Steel. For prescription drugs, we'll be down 80, 90%, 75%, 68%. They've only gone up for years and years and years. They've only gone up, and now we're going to have essentially the most favored nation, and it's a disaster. And hopefully, we will be paying money directly to the people instead of giving the insurance companies the money. They'll go into a healthcare savings account or whatever it is. But think of it.
I apologize for the stream breaking.
One went up 1,700%. Numbers went up. If you.
Okay, so it's going to keep doing it. It seems this thing is probably going to go on for another 2 hours.